one thing that happened is that they're going to install a pump on one of these flanges, and they make it faster. They loosened up all the screws on this guy, and they kind of broke the seal a little bit, but they should have done it. Take the wrong way, thinking ahead to try to cut down time. But by breaking the seal there, okay, so we're not going to use this one. Okay, so I'm going to torque it back down, I'm going to tighten it back up. But you can't do that with the pressures that we're dealing with. The pressures are so low in pressure that breaking the seal and redoing it again, this flange inside here, and you have these knife edges that are on this flange and on this flange, and they cut into this copper gasket here. And so as soon as you undid this flange, that knife came off, and then they squeezed it again, and they thought, oh, okay, it'll be good. It'll just hold pressure again, but that you can't do that. So they eventually found that a leak was somewhere on this flange, and so the thing that we're gonna have to do is take this flange off, get a completely pristine and new gasket, and then reinstall it right here, and then torque this whole thing down. So that one little job, which will only take us probably 30 minutes, takes us down for 2 weeks, because you have to vent the system and then do the job, and then you have to hook our pumps up to this and then pump down that whole volume, and that's the thing that really takes a long time. So pumping down these huge areas takes on the order of a week to 2 weeks, and so that's why that little job or this little break in activity, because it's going to take us down for 2 weeks, that opens up opportunities to do work in other areas. So all these other scientists want to do these other things. And so I'm going to be installing a seismometer inside of a table in a different volume. We have people that are going to work on the NX building 4 kilometers that way to go fix some electronics. And so everybody's doing that because we're going to be taken down for 2 weeks to swap this gasket out right here. Right now, so I'll talk in torr, so 760 torr is what we're living in right now. We're down 10 to the minus 9 torr. That's how low we get in pressure for this guy. So this, so another thing that's interesting about that, because it's such a big volume, you want to be careful with windows that are attached to our system. So instead of a metal flange like this, if you had a window here, you want to make sure that you don't damage that glass at all, because if you happen to nick that, if you happen to go like that, or just barely, or brush it with your finger, if you do it to a point where you damage that glass, all that potential energy for the big volume would basically suck whatever was in there. It would break the glass and then suck everything in there until you're vented. I mean, it's a quick way to vent, but it would damage. It would do a lot of damage to the machine. And so that's actually happened once, not to us. It happened to the Italian detector. And so when that happened, we had to halt all of our work, come up with new procedures, replace whatever kind of windows we had that was similar to theirs, and do these stronger windows that they had. So whenever you're working around windows, you have to be very careful. And so this tube here was swapped out because the light between these two, this table here and a table over there, was we had too much action going on. So we had too many beams of light going in between these two chambers, and so we swapped this one out and we craned in another tube that's basically this big around. And so it's just to allow us to have all the beam paths that we need for advanced LIGO.
And the beams go to space, not to fiber.
Yeah, they're going to the back. Yeah, through space. Yeah. We do have some fibers for different subsystems for it as well. But yeah, all of our light is just in space, in the vacuum.
What does the windows allow you to do?
We have to worry about that when they were surveying and when I joined LIGO way back in 1998, and I think it was the next year we opened up and shot light down to different stations of the Earth. So it was kind of a crapshoot. We were like, did we survey this good enough so that we could see light at the end of the tunnel? And we did. So yeah. We have to account for it. Yeah, definitely. We have to account for how things hang as well. What's that? Yeah. And then so now I'm going to move from that tube right there to this one. So this tube in here. you can see it's a lot different than that tube over there. That one's a lot thicker. This one's, just a few millimeters thick. This is the tube that we actually have in the arm. So from this building here, 2 kilometers away down to the building, you kind of see it down that way, is a tube that's made entirely of this type of structure. And this was installed in place. Can you see the spherical weld? So we had, I wasn't here when they did it, but they had a welder that spherically welded this entire thing. That was before I got here, so that's how they made this long section of tube for each of our sections. And so those volumes are our most important sections of volume, because it takes a lot to get us down to pump this thing down, and the cleanliness as well. We pumped these guys down back when I started here, way back in, I think, about 1999 is when we opened up the gate valves, and we're able to use these volumes and put light through them. So one way that we protect these tubes is by having gate valves. So a gate valve is just a big wall that we can lower and raise, and we could do that inside the corner station building there, and at the other buildings that we have 2 kilometers away and 4 kilometers away. So whenever we're going to do something inside the chamber to preserve that volume, we always make sure that we close the gate valves for each of the arm sections. So we have this arm section, we have the one that's the 2 kilometers away, and then the 4 kilometer away section. So we have 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 2 kilometer long sections of volume that we always want to make sure that we never lose or never accidentally vent them. What else? Okay, this is the enclosure that covers them. So if you were to go inside that door over there, you'd see a tube just like this, and then that's about it. I mean, that's just going to protect us mainly from birds. It'll protect us from hunters in Louisiana. Yeah. It'll also protect us from vehicles as well. One interesting thing that happened, I think, in 2000, because LIGO was fairly new at that time. I came into work in the morning, and we had our morning meeting, and we found out that we had a collision into our beam tube. And it turned out to be a Hanford Patrol vehicle that was on a road on the inside, and it was going this way sort of fast, judging by the air that it took. And the Durango basically rammed right into the enclosure. Nothing happened to the enclosure, but the Durango was definitely totaled.